So that's a fun movie clip to start on as we begin our angel series. And isn't it interesting? Like with Conversations of Angels, there's a lot of great movies out there about angels. Recently, Hereafter, It's a Wonderful Life, the movie Ghost. And what we're going to do is we're going to be looking over the next couple weeks at angels and really thinking of it as actually a working hypothesis. What if there is such a thing? And where we're going with this, folks, is a real simple piece, which is that we're angels. It's not that God has a drawer in the next life, one drawer that's marked humans, and one drawer that's marked angels. They're one and the same. It's the life that He intends for us to have in heaven. That's what angels is all about. See, angels, they show up throughout the Bible. I mean, from the very beginning. From Genesis, the first book, just one quick reading from Genesis 16. Now the angel of the Lord found Hagar by a spring of water in the wilderness. Real simple passage. And angels will continue to show up throughout, as well as clear teachings that say, look, there actually is a life beyond this life. There actually is such a thing as heaven. I mean, Jesus on the cross turns to somebody who's being executed with Him and says these words, today you will be with me in paradise. Again, an angel. Now that word angel is a fascinating one because when you look at the translation, it actually means messenger, which gives you both a description of what angels do as well as a prescription of what we should be doing as we try to live life that is in integrity with what's truly angelic. New Church Theology has a lot to say about this. Again, folks, the Bible has angels throughout, so of course, New Church Theology is going to have angels throughout as well, adding to those descriptions. And it's important to go to the starting point of it all. I want to share with you a couple of quotes from the book Heaven and Hell. It's a book written by the Christian scientist and theologian Emanuel Swedenborg, and this is what he has to say about angels. First quote, we were created to become angels. You just start with that. You were created to become an angel. That's why you're here. And I'm not talking here as like Mitchell Performing Arts Center, 1045. I'm talking life. That's why you're on this planet. Folks, again and again, we talk about this, and I think it's so critical. We are not human beings kind of having these little spiritual experiences. We're actually deeply spiritual, trying to learn how to have a human experience. A critical piece, because what is life about? Well, it's getting to that inner person, and here's the second quote. Our inner person, and this is one I shared last week, is essentially an angel. That our very essence, that's who we are. Now, folks, it gets covered up. We don't live into it all the time. For lots of people, it's not accessible right now. But that certainly doesn't mean it's not there. And that kind of spins the way we look at this life, because what it means is it's not about kind of a passive, like, I'm an angel. It's about getting you're an angel in training. As Clarence said, angel second class. Trying to earn your wings. No, not your literal wings, your figurative wings. Trying to learn how to live life in a very deep, deep way. And we're going to take a look at what is that like and what's the real work of that, learning to live like an angel, and the impact that it can have on our lives. Because life has these turning points. Blessedness, bitterness. Blessedness and bitterness. Now, we'll have to choose when we reach certain points in our lives, sometimes daily, sometimes on a yearly basis, sometimes 4 or 5 times over a lifetime, when it's a big crisis, where we have to choose that. Now the question is, can you hear? Can you start to hear that call? That call for deep angel voices, that calling of all angels, as we look to move into blessedness. Front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer, planting seeds of hope. And over here, somebody convicted of taking bribes, like blessedness or bitterness. Calling all angels. Which are we going to choose? Can we hear that call to plant those seeds of hope? So hearing it, calling all angels. So much of the Christmas story even starts with that, a calling of angels. I want to look just in a little more depth at this article. It's talking about a pastor's call, and it's the kind of call we all have, Pastor Adin Moreno. And he said something really profound in this, I think, that talks about this call of planting seeds of hope. That angel call, that being a messenger, which he's trying to be, and many in his congregation are trying to be, and I think many of us are trying to be. He said the following, I'm talking about a way of life. I'm talking about a way of life instead of just a bunch of beliefs. You love your neighbor. You feed the poor. Very straightforward parts about what it is to truly be an angel. An angel in this life and an angelhood that will get blessed out into eternity. When you look at what we take with us out of this life, well, what we take with us is our inmost character. Remember that saying, what you see is what you get? Remember that? Yeah, well, very familiar with that. Well, New Church Angle is what you seek is what you get. What you seek is what you get. That deep character, that part of your life that yearns for something greater than just yourself. Your body is going to get left behind. Your character, your spirit, your soul. That's what becomes an angel. That's what lives on. That's the call we have to start to hear and act out into in this life. I love the way one of our team phrased it. And they used these words on Facebook, which I want to share with you. Knowing our life is eternal, and that we choose our future existence by what we love, how we show that, and how we serve our fellow humanity all shape the angels that we are becoming. And how do we do that? What are some specific pieces of going about that? Well, obviously, folks, there needs to be a recognition inside of you that, yes, there is an angelic part. There is an angelic part. And it's funny because we can look in some life situations and just be absolutely clear it's there, and then we can lose that. I mean, imagine holding a newborn baby. And you're holding that newborn baby, are you looking at an angel? Of course, nobody would go, well, I'm not so sure you're an angel. Of course you're holding an angel. There's no debate. Case closed. You recognize it, you see it, you enjoy it, you live into that sphere. But then we turn 40. And we stop seeing it. All we see is our brokenness, our limitations. And our ego and hell will just keep piling it on. And we need an angel, sometimes like Clarence, to jump right in there and say, wait, God actually sees you a little differently. You've actually lost track of who you are. See, that's recognition. Recognition. Cognition is what you know. Is you got to do it again. You got to recognize how you hold yourself. Can you get that you're as precious as that newborn baby? Absolutely as precious in God's sight and in the sight of angels as that precious newborn. And can you go to another form of recognition as well? Can you recognize that in other people? Can you be that kind of messenger? Can you send that kind of message? See, that's really hard, folks. Imagine, that you really could do that you really could recognize, you really could recognize recognition, recast the way you see other people. So that your first response isn't, I can't believe he just, or I can't believe she did that again, but is that same way that we look at an infant. Tenderly and with great love. See, and that recognition is understanding, folks, that angels, like the variety of angels is huge. New Church theology, one of the things I just love and find so blessed about it is it's not a cookie cutter faith. It's not trying to shove people into little boxes named salvation. It says something deeply profound that I need to repeat to myself over and over and over again. Variety is perfection. Variety is perfection. That's God's plan. And it's the same with angels. He needs many types of angels. He needs huge variety in order to create something that's perfect. See, in our world, we often look at perfection and we think that means sameness. It's perfect if I can stamp out the exact same part 1,000 times a day. That's not God's view of perfection at all. It's a perfection that's organic, that ebbs and flows, that turns in and out, sort of like a marble cake, not a layer cake. And yeah, angels, of course, can share orientations. Here's three for you to think about. 3 different ways angels can be oriented. Some angels, and these people in your lives, they're kind of the law and order angels. Think of them as the vice principal angels. And they're really good about reminding us of order and keeping things structured. Everything has a place. About containers, about holding things. They're the ones you would call to borrow stuff from because they know where it is. And then there's other angels, a higher level, above kind of a natural angel. And these angels are more spiritual. And what their main concern is the other person. They're those deeply generous, loving people who probably have houses that look like a bomb went off. That's their concern, is the other. Sometimes maybe even too much. But that's that orientation. And then there's the highest orientation you can possibly have, where really you've put love of God at the top. And with love of God at the top, it's not about that you're looking away from those other parts, from natural levels and spiritual. It's that you're actually looking down into those with the eye of God, as He gives you literally to see it, as He gives you to hold it. How can that all come together, that variety? Well, I was thinking about what's a story that I know of somebody who, wow, they really did something I consider angelic. And they did it as a group. I want to share with you a story from the Ronald McDonald House. Many of us have gone down there. I've been going down there for about 10 years now. And I remember when I first went there, they shared a wonderful Christmas story. There's the German airline, I will probably mispronounce it, Lufthansa, is that right? Close, all right. We'll just call it the German airline then. The German airline, they wanted to do something wonderful for the kids of the Ronald McDonald House. So what they did is they asked the kids who were healthy enough to come down to the airport. They pulled up a big jet, loaded the kids on the airplane, and took off. Circled Philadelphia a couple of times and landed at a different terminal that was the North Pole. Those kids went in, and they got to experience Christmas. Now, folks, that's no small thing. That takes a huge variety of people thinking like angels to pull that off. And they did it. I mean, I can only imagine as a parent the magic of watching your sick child walk off that airplane into the North Pole. I mean, what a life memory that is for those kids and for those families. And again, it takes that variety, bringing to bear that hope, that seed of hope, that best of humanity lived out into this world. That's what Calling Angels is all about. It's not without work, though. Again, like, it's really easy to think. It's, we sort of have a little, cotton ball-y thing going on over here. That's part of It's a Wonderful Life play production. And it's easy, to think of some of this angel stuff and just hold it like that way, like cotton balls, and it's not. It actually takes work. See, God looks at you and he sees an angel. Your guardian angels look at you and they see an angel. Many of us look at you and we see an angel. You may not see it, but many others do. And it's a little like getting that you are a first-round draft pick. I mean, imagine you're really good at sports or really good at music. And yeah, you're so good that you are a first-round draft pick. Now, any athlete or any musician knows that, are you really good just because you got picked in the first round? No. You actually have to work at your craft. But you work at it, please listen carefully here, folks, you work at it with the confidence that you are a first-round draft pick. That's the confidence that God wants to give into your heart. It's a very different place to come from than a totally hopeless place. It's deeply hopeful when you live into that space. This talk about angels, these pieces should leave you with great hope, with great optimism. Much of New Church theology is, as many of you in here know, was penned in the 1700s by a Christian scientist and theologian named Emanuel Swedenborg. And I think about, what is all this theology? And there's a lot of it. What does it all come down to? Well, for me, a story that has deep resonance for me about what the heart of the new church is this story. Swedenborg had a little girl approach him. And this little girl asked him, Mr. Swedenborg, could I see an angel? He said, sure. This guy's brilliant theologian, brilliant scientist. Takes her inside, shows her a mirror, says, there's your angel. So taking a look at wrapping this up and what's the takeaway to go out of here with? Well, what I want you to do is I want you to go away thinking about somebody in your life who you can really show that mirror to. Maybe it's yourself, maybe it's a loved one. Think, who is somebody who really needs that piece, really needs help in seeing what an angel that they are? Holiday season, folks, remember, for a lot of us, this is like the best time of the year. And for other people, take a guess. Worse. And can we reach out in those ways? Can we help other people to be angels? I want you to take a minute to think about that. Here you have your card. And think about, well, who would you fill in an angel message to? Like, who would it go to? What would the subject area be? And what would the message be? I'd like you to just take a minute to think about that. If you actually want to jot down something on your card, feel free. If you want to share that with somebody around you, like, yeah, this is who I'm thinking about. So we can speak it out loud. We can speak that, yeah, I recognize this person. I see them. I'm going to work at seeing them as God sees them. So take a minute. Feel free to share that with your neighbor. So thinking about that, thinking about angels in our lives, that recognition in ourselves, that recognition in other people. Critically important, and do the work over this holiday season that it takes to really recognize others, to really help them to see and to help yourself see. Because imagine the world you create when you start going out from that place. Again, we all have flaws. No one in here is perfect. But when you come from that place, that angelic place, the world really does start to open up in pretty amazing ways. where we can then plant seeds of hope, where we can be angel voices. You know, yesterday I was listening to a podcast, and this woman was talking about, well, you know, like life is hard because we have all these practical concerns, and then we have this call of our heart. And so much of Christmas, I think, is really letting that call win. Letting the call win. That's a wonderful spot to be in going into this holiday season. I want to close, you know, as we look at what a wonderful life it is, I want to close with a quote from James Allen, and then we'll do the prayer. James Allen said, "The oak sleeps in the acorn. The bird waits in the egg. And in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs." And in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs. I'd ask you now to please join me in prayer. I'm going to offer a prayer, and then you'll have an opportunity to say the Lord's Prayer as you know it, or to have a moment of quiet reflection or a moment of silent prayer. Please join me. Dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity to share this message here today. Lord, stir in our heart that deep recognition of the gifts you have given us. And Lord, today, moving forward from this service, whether we heard it in the music or whether we heard it in the message, pull us forward, Lord, as we move into this holiday season. That deep commitment to really try to see others in a slightly different way. Even if it's just for this afternoon, Lord, let us go out of this worship service and really try to see others for the angels that they are. Thank you, Lord, for being with us. Start, Lord, to get our minds ready for this Christmas season. Start, Lord, to allow your life and your love to be born in our heart as a seed of hope, born anew. Amen.